I remember this time in my life a couple of years ago when I had no energy. I was so tired. I was thinking that there was something wrong with me for sure because I always needed to have a nap in the afternoon. And I was so tired. I couldn't do anything. Usually I was so full of life and love to exercise and move my body, but I just couldn't because I was so darn tired. Even the thought of doing something was just exhausting to me. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And this is really a hard way to see yourself and thing to experience when you are a physically moving, energetic kind of person. So this is like your worst nightmare if you're an active, athletic person. And I needed to get to the bottom of this because this was just insane. This was too much for me. So guess what I did? I went to my doctor because when I was pregnant with my kids, I was anemic. So it was a very similar feeling. Like during my pregnancy, further along, I would sit on the couch and I would think, oh my God, I can't even get up off the couch. Don't have enough energy to get up off the couch, like to physically get up off the couch. It was the craziest thing ever. And I was anemic when I was pregnant with my kids. And so we upped our iron. And as a plant-based person, it's hard to get enough iron from vegetables. That's not as bioavailable. So the best way to get the most easily accessible iron for your body is through meat. And I just didn't eat meat. So I went on a supplement for that. And it improved. But I was thinking maybe I'm anemic here. So I'm going to go see my doctor. And my doctor is like, okay, Heather, we are going to do all the tests and see what happens. So I did all the blood work and I went back to see my doctor. And my doctor said, well, guess what? Your blood work looks normal. Everything is totally fine. But I didn't want to leave without an answer because I'm like, that doesn't work for me because you're telling me that there's nothing wrong with my body. And I'm saying there's something wrong with my body because I know my body. I am in tune with my body. I'm like, doctor, you don't understand who you're talking with here. I am like all about my body and knowing what's going on and how it's working and what's normal and what's not. And this is not normal for me and it doesn't feel good and we have to fix it. And she's like, Heather, there's nothing I can do for you because this is just normal. Wouldn't know what to do because your blood work is coming back. You're good. You're fine. So I left there totally frustrated and dejected. I'm like, this can't be a thing. And so being the person that I am, I'm like, I'm going to solve for this. I got to figure this out. But you definitely question yourself when you go to see your doctor and your doctor says, technically, there's nothing wrong with you because they're going by their blood work, which makes sense. But I'm going by what I'm feeling and experiencing in my body. And I always trust my body. I know that my body is always giving me feedback and answers, and it's always right. I'm always going to listen to it. So I needed to figure out how to solve for this. But the side note to this is like when you were in menopause, the same thing happens. And I had a woman doctor. She's since retired. And I really liked my doctor. But I always wanted to have a female doctor because only a female doctor has experienced female things. But when you get into midlife and you start to go through the hormonal changes, crazy things happen in your body. And when you go see your doctor, a lot of the times they'll say, your blood work is fine, you're good. But I don't want you to listen to them because if you're feeling things, then those things are legit. Your body is telling you the truth. I want you to always believe your body. And if your doctor doesn't believe you, then go find another doctor or go find somebody else, a naturopathic doctor who listens to you and who does believe you. Because some of these crazy midlife menopause symptoms we don't even know about. Like we just all of a sudden we have these aches all over our body. Like it's just insane the things that happen. So the moral of this story is, as on my side note, is always listen to your body and always trust what your body's telling you. Your body is always right. And as women, we are told or taught to not trust our bodies. And I want to end that. I want to always listen and trust our bodies. Your body always knows the answer. And so for me, back to my story, I was determined to figure this out and heal myself because I can't be a non-energetic person. Like, I was exhausted. And so, of course, I turned to food. And this is where I introduce you to my little friend. Say hello to my little friend, the mitochondria. Now, if you know, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Usually that's the only thing people know about the mitochondria, but I really love mitochondria. Mitochondria are teeny little organelles in your cells, and this is where your energy is produced. Your little mitochondria, these crazy little teeny tiny little microscopic things, produce ATP, the energy in your body. And ATP cannot be stored. So these bad boys just keep pumping out ATP all day, every day. So that's why these are so important. And when it comes to a lack of energy, it would make sense to start there. And as a matter of fact, when I studied holistic nutrition, one of the first things that we look at when something's going on for somebody is our mitochondria and how we're taking care of it. So there can be hundreds to thousands of mitochondria in every cell. Now think about how many cells we have in the body. This is mind-blowing. Think about the trillions of cells that we have in the body, and every single one of those cells has hundreds to thousands of mitochondria in the cell. This is mind-blowing when you think about it. I am geeking out right now because we don't really appreciate how our body works and understand all these little things that are going on behind the scenes. So every single cell has like hundreds to thousands. It depends on where they are in the body. And because the mitochondria are highest in the muscle and the nerve cells because they take up the most energy. The muscles and the nerves use the most energy, which makes sense when you think about it. And so they have the highest concentration of the mitochondria. And you get your mitochondria from your mother. So the DNA in the mitochondria, like mitochondria, each mitochondria, it has its own DNA. And that DNA is passed down from the mother's side. So the mitochondrial DNA is passed down from the mother's side, which is fascinating as well. And if we are trying to get more energy or fix a problem with the mitochondria, what do we want to do? We want to be like mitochondria. What do you need to have more energy? Just like picture me as a human. What do I need to have more energy? Well, it's what feeds me, what feeds my body. Food feeds my body. What feeds my mitochondria? Food feeds my mitochondria. Okay, now we're getting here. Now we're getting somewhere. We're understanding the concept of where our energy comes from and how we can produce more of it. So you can do two things. One is you can increase your amount of mitochondria in your cell. What? This just keeps getting better and better. And then you can improve the performance of mitochondria. So there's two things. First of all, if you here's the cellular essentials for increasing mitochondrial counts per cell. So if you want to increase your mitochondria per cell, you want to exercise 30 minutes a day. Now, the best kind of exercise to increase your mitochondria specifically are strength exercises, because when your muscle gets bigger, more energy, more mitochondria. And then workouts where you sweat. So those are the HIIT workouts. That's a tough one. That's a tongue twister. But remember, when we're talking about weight loss in midlife, we don't need to do the HIIT workouts. So if you want to increase your mitochondria in your cells, that's a good way to do it. But you want to exercise for 30 minutes a day. That's going to help increase the mitochondria in your cells. And then we're looking at L-arginine, which is an essential amino acid. So you can find these in protein foods. So if you're eating more protein foods, that's going to help. Resveratrol, we know it, we love it because of, we look at it for anti-aging, and that's in your red grapes. Quercetin is a natural antihistamine. So when my kids were growing up, my youngest, Santos, he is allergic to mosquito bites and spider bites. It's really weird. His mosquito bites are huge. And if he gets bit by a spider, his whole, like he once got bit on the face by a spider, and his whole side of his head swelled up so that it looked different than the other side. It was the craziest thing ever. And then over time, gravity took control and all that fluid sunk down and his whole side of his face was misshapen. And then one time when he was going to summer camp for school, like grade 5, all the kids are looking forward to it. It's the highlight of elementary school. And he had a spider bite on his leg behind his knee. So guess what that meant? His whole leg was swollen up at the knee, so he couldn't like bend his leg. And so he couldn't run around. It was so bizarre on the poor little guy. Like he had fun anyway, but because his leg was so swollen, he couldn't just run around and play in the woods like a normal little kid. So it kind of hindered his fun. It's so strange. So instead of giving him the chemical version of that, I would just give him quercetin, which is a natural antihistamine. And it would help the swelling go down. And you can find quercetin, it's naturally occurring in capers, onions, apples, and berries. Stuff like that is really high in quercetin. Or you could take a quercetin supplement. And lipoic acid, you can find that in red meat, carrots, beets, spinach, broccoli, potatoes. And biotin, which is B7, which is a B complex vitamin. Beef liver, eggs, milk, bananas, nuts, seeds, pork chops, salmon, sweet potato, and mushrooms. So this is how you increase the number of mitochondria in your cell. So when you have more mitochondria per cell, it leads to greater energy production per cell. That just makes sense, right? And then we can look at the essentials for energy production for your mitochondria. It's really important that you get lots of oxygen, so that's where the exercise comes from, and clean, healthy foods that can feed the mitochondria. The number one thing that feeds the mitochondria to give it more energy is B complex. That's the number one, B complex. Then we have our alpha lipoic acid, which is an antioxidant. It's naturally produced in the body, but you can get it from yeast, spinach, broccoli, potatoes. CoQ10 enzyme can be found in meats and seafoods. And then you have your L-carnitine, which is another amino acid. It's naturally produced in the body, but you can find it in red meat, smaller amounts of chicken, fish, dairy, beans, and avocado. Then magnesium is wonderful for feeding your mitochondria. Pumpkin seeds, spinach, Swiss chard, green beans, salmon, black beans. And then iron. And iron, the best kind of most absorbable iron, is in meat. But if you are a vegetarian or plant-based, you can also take a supplement. Sulfur is helpful to help feed the mitochondria. Eggs, of course, almonds, Brazil nuts, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. Chickpeas, fava beans, kidney beans, lentils, and peas. And then some copper. So oysters, other shellfish, is high in copper. Whole grains, beans, nuts, potatoes, and organ meats like kidneys and livers. And then it comes down to your porphyrin rings. So that is from chlorophyll, which is found in green superfoods. So this is like the blood of plants. And in the superfoods, green superfoods such as chlorella, spirulina, wild blue-green algae, and leafy green vegetables, they're all excellent sources of iron, B12, lipoic acid, and minerals. So these porphyrin rings are so healthy. And this is like, when you look at the chlorophyll or the spirulina, these are just like, or the blue-green algae, these are just deep, deep, deep green, dark green foods. And that is super healthy for your mitochondria. So I did this, and guess what happened? Of course, I got my energy back. I solved my own problem. And I haven't experienced it since that time because I've been feeding my mitochondria these power foods. Or if it does happen, I know exactly what to do. If I'm feeling low on energy, I'm like, I am going to feed these mitochondria. They are so important and so powerful when it comes to having energy and fueling our body. In the supplement, when it comes to supplements, my belief is you should take a supplement based on what you're working on. So I have a whole cupboard with different supplements because sometimes I'm working on this and I need this supplement. And then other times I'm working on this and I need that supplement. So I don't usually recommend like a daily supplement because everybody is so different and we're all working on different things. But so my supplement recommendation would be like, okay, what are you working on? And then let's find the supplements for that. But if I had to recommend some daily supplements at the top of my list, like across the board generically, which is hard to do because everybody's so unique and so different, at the top of the list would be a multivitamin because that just covers your ass. But next on the list would be a B complex. I love a good B complex vitamin. You can't go wrong with it. And every time I take a B complex, I'm thinking I'm feeding my mitochondria. These are the energy. This is the energy vitamin. And I'll take it. I don't take it every day. I'll take it on a couple times a week. Sometimes I'll take it before I go play tennis because I know it's going to give me energy. And then the other one, and the B complex is because all of the Bs work synergistically together. So they're meant to be taken together. And the B complex just means that all the B vitamins are included in that vitamin. Because you could just take this like B1 or B7 separately. And you would do that for different reasons. But I would recommend a good B complex. And the other one that I would recommend is vitamin C, but megadosing vitamin C. And I do this if I'm not feeling good, if I feel something coming on, or in the winter time, I'll megadose vitamin C. So I won't do it year round, but I will do it quite often. And megadosing vitamin C is a whole other ballgame. People are like, what? Take 2 capsules of 1,000 milligrams? I'm like, no, take 30 or 40 capsules because megadosing is unique to everybody. And again, your body has a certain amount of vitamin C, which is different than mine. And you have a different tolerance. And how do you find your tolerance? Well, you take a vitamin C. I would start with maybe taking 5 vitamin Cs. And then after that, every 15 minutes, take another vitamin C. I'm talking like 1,000 milligram vitamin C every 15 minutes with water. And then when you hit your saturation point, you'll know because you'll get diarrhea, you'll get loose stools, and then you back off 1 or 2, and then that's your saturation point. And I guarantee you're going to be up around 30 or 40,000 milligrams of vitamin C. That's how deficient we are in it. And you don't have to do that a whole year round. I think it's good to take a break every once in a while, but like I said, I do it if I'm sick, if I'm struggling with something, if I want to boost my immune system, or in the wintertime, I'll do that. I'll just megadose vitamin C. But if I'm getting sick, if I feel something coming on, I will take maybe 5 of those first thing in the morning. And then every hour, I'll take 2 or 3. So I'll hit that 30 or 40 and I'll do that every single day. So I'm spreading it out every hour. I'm putting more vitamin C into my body, into my system. And that's what works for me. So that is my recommendation for any kind of vitamin supplements. So I think it's important to really realize that your health is up to you. At the end of the day, your doctor doesn't care. They go home and they've forgotten about you. And I'm sure they're lovely, caring people, but You got to live with yourself every single day. You got to live in this body for the rest of your life. We got to take good care of it, because when we're in midlife, we're going to go do fabulous things. And we don't want this body to be the reason why we can't go do fabulous things and go on eat, pray, love adventures. That's what midlife is for. So your health is up to you. And if you're not 100%, if you're not feeling 100%, it's only one of two things. This is where we start. If I'm not feeling 100%, I know it's one of two things. One, toxicity, too much of something, or two, deficiency, not enough of something. And that's where I start. Which one is it? And then I figure it out. So it's your job to figure it out and then to solve for that problem. It's like, oh, do I have too many heavy metals in my body? Oh, do I not have enough B complex? And B complex is water soluble, by the way. So is vitamin C. So if you're megadosing vitamin C, the worst that will happen is diarrhea, because it's water soluble. So your body just gets rid of anything that's too much. So it's not toxic in any means. So remember, you want to be proactive with your health, because it's your body that's going to allow you to live a long, healthy life. We want to square the curve. Right now, the curve is like this. People get old and then they slowly live a horrible life of ill health and unwell, not being able to live a life, just struggling, just trying to get healthy. And it's like a slow, painful demise. And squaring the curve means you're just going to live this healthiest life. And then one day you just die, but you've been living a healthy life. You haven't been in an old age home or a hospital on life support or struggling, pumped full of medicines. No, let's go live our life. And we're out at the beach. And then one day we just have a heart attack doing the thing we love. Or our body just gives up in that night when we're sleeping, but we were out gardening and hanging with our friends and playing all the fun games that we liked. That's squaring the curve, where you're actually living your life right up until the moment that you pass away. Right up, the last second. Your life is full of fun adventures with your grandkids or traveling the world, all those things, right up until you get every drop of life. You use up every single drop of life. And that's why you want to be proactive with your health. It's up to you. When people get into midlife, their health becomes their biggest issue. So food and mindset are always the answer. Nourish your body and think your thoughts. Nourish your body with your thoughts and your food, and you will always come out a healthy winner. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.